In the ancient land of Persia, amidst the bustling city of Susa, a young girl named Esther. Born into humble circumstances, Esther's early years were marked by adversity and loss. Esther was orphaned at a tender age and left in the care of her cousin Mordecai, who took her in as his own. Together, they navigated the challenges of life in Susa, relying on their faith and resilience to overcome every obstacle. Despite the hardships they faced, Esther's spirit remained unbroken. She possessed a quiet strength and inner beauty that set her apart from those around her. Little did she know that her life was about to take a dramatic turn, forever altering the course of history. The event that led to Esther being crowned Queen of Persia was initiated by King Xerxes' search for a new queen. After Queen Vashti was deposed for disobeying the king's orders, Xerxes sought a replacement. To accomplish this, he ordered his officials to gather young virgins from all over the kingdom and bring them to the palace in Susa. Esther, a young Jewish woman living in Susa under the care of her cousin Mordecai, was among the many young women taken to the palace to be considered as a candidate for queen. Despite her humble background and the secrecy surrounding her Jewish identity, Esther was chosen by the king's officials for her beauty and charm. Throughout the selection process, Esther displayed grace, humility, and intelligence, winning the favor of everyone she encountered, including Haggai, the eunuch in charge of the women, and ultimately King Xerxes himself. As a result, Esther was crowned Queen of Persia, a position of unparalleled power and privilege. Despite the glamour and prestige that accompanied her new title, Esther remained grounded in her faith and sense of responsibility. She understood the weight of her crown and the duty she had to both the king and her people. This awareness of the responsibilities that came with her newfound status is what distinguished Esther as a woman of integrity and courage, even amid the opulence and intrigue of the Persian court. Esther's original name was Hadassah, a distinctly Jewish name. However, upon entering the Persian court, she adopts the name Esther, which is of Persian origin. This name change helps to disguise her Jewish heritage and allows her to blend in more seamlessly with the Persian culture. One significant event in Esther's story is the discovery of a plot to assassinate King Xerxes. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, overhears two of the king's eunuchs plotting to kill him, and he promptly informs Esther, who then alerts the king, giving credit to Mordecai for the information. Another pivotal moment occurs when King Xerxes elevates Haman, a high-ranking official, to a position of great authority. However, Haman's pride and arrogance lead him to demand that all the king's servants bow down to him. Mordecai, being a devout Jew, refuses to bow to anyone but God, which enrages Haman and sparks a personal vendetta against Mordecai and his people, the Jews. In response to Haman's decree, Mordecai urges Esther to intercede on behalf of her people before the king. Initially hesitant due to the potential risks involved, Esther ultimately agrees and approaches the king, risking her own life in the process. This courageous act is a pivotal moment in the story, as it sets the stage for the climax of the narrative. Meanwhile, Haman, fueled by his hatred for Mordecai and the Jews, manipulates the king into issuing a decree to annihilate all the Jews throughout the kingdom. This decree plunges Esther and her people into a state of crisis and desperation, leading to a race against time to reverse the king's edict and save the Jewish people from destruction. As the tension mounts and the stakes reach their zenith, Esther must summon all her courage, wisdom, and faith to navigate the perilous waters of palace politics and secure the salvation of her people. The events that follow will test Esther's resolve like never before, and ultimately reveal the extent of her faith and God's providential care over his chosen people. Following the revelation of Haman's plot to annihilate the Jewish people, Esther takes bold action to save her people, risking her own life in the process. Esther invites King Xerxes and Haman to a banquet she has prepared, intending to reveal Haman's treachery to the king. During the banquet, Esther exposes Haman's evil intentions and pleads with the king to spare her people. Enraged by Haman's deceit and betrayal, King Xerxes orders Haman to be executed on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. Perhaps the most significant example of divine providence is Esther's courageous decision to approach King Xerxes unsummoned to plead for the salvation of her people. Despite the inherent risks involved, Esther's actions are interpreted by many as being guided by God, who empowers her to act boldly on behalf of her people. The dramatic downfall of Haman, the chief antagonist in the story, is another instance where God's providence is evident. Haman's elaborate scheme to annihilate the Jews backfires spectacularly, leading to his own demise on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. This turn of events, while engineered by human actions, is interpreted by many as God's intervention to rescue his people. Esther appeals to the king once again, pleading for him to issue a new decree allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. Moved by Esther's courage and conviction, King Xerxes grants her request, empowering the Jewish people to take up arms and defend themselves against those who seek their destruction. Mordecai is honored for his loyalty and wisdom, elevated to a position of authority in the kingdom, and the Jewish people are spared from certain annihilation. Esther's decision to conceal her Jewish identity reflects the wisdom found in Proverbs 3:5-6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Esther's trust in God's guidance, even in uncertain circumstances, mirrors the reliance on God advocated in this verse. In the end, Esther's story serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of courage, faith, and standing up for what is right, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Her legacy continues to inspire and uplift countless generations, reminding us that God is always at work behind the scenes, orchestrating events for the good of those who love him. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe.